Good morning from Russia, everyone. It's Tuesday, May the 19th. Coming up, restrictions lifted on Russian and Belarusian gymnasts, joint Russian-Belarusian nuclear drills, and Donald Trump will not like what this Russian paper has written about him this morning. First, what is the mood right now in Russia? Apprehensive, according to this editorial in Nezavisomaya Gazeta today. It's entitled Anxiety in Society and Dissatisfaction with the Authorities. Since mid-April, regular polls by the Public Opinion Foundation, FOM, have recorded an increase in anxiety amongst citizens. For example, on the 19th of April, 47% of respondents reported that their relatives, loved ones, friends and acquaintances had anxiety. For the first time in a long time, there were more such people than those who said that the people around them were calm. On the 26th of April, the anxiety percentage jumped to 53%. The first data in May, published last week, showed 50%. What might this be linked to? To answer that question, the writer looks at the results of another poll by state-affiliated FOM, which asks people to name what they consider to be events of the week. In the latest such survey, 18% spoke about drone attacks. In the given responses, there are undertones of anxiety. For example, I had to rush to collect my children from school. There are drones in the air, constant anxiety. A drone landed, destroyed a house. Drones are very worrying. The mood in society, including anxiety, should certainly worry politicians. Theoretically, this can and even should affect the level of dissatisfaction with the authorities. And here's another FOM poll on dissatisfaction with the authorities. According to the latest survey, 31% of respondents had recently heard critical statements about the authorities from people around them. Since March the 20th, this figure has not fallen below 30%. This wasn't the case in 2025. 27% admit they are personally outraged by or dissatisfied with the actions of the authorities. This is also one of the highest figures for the year. This data about anxiety correlates with what we're hearing on the streets. When we talk to Russians, people express anxiety not only about the war, which is now in its 5th year, but also about economic pressures and internet restrictions. The Russian authorities are clearly anxious about recent Ukrainian drone attacks on Russia. Moskovsky Komsomolets claims that Ukrainian drones use Elon Musk's Starlink satellites. The paper quotes a military expert as saying Russia should use electronic warfare to jam the Starlink signals. This article features some of Donald Trump's recent and rather unusual social media posts. It's not complimentary. It says this about the US president. He loves cola, hamburgers. He boasts that he's the strongest and always wins, even when he really loses. He is convinced he is unique, gets easily carried away with new toys, and posts pictures of himself online in heroic poses. A typical teenager with no self-awareness. But this teenager, as you've guessed, is Donald Trump. Too much in the world depends on the US. So when a major power like this is run by a grandpa who doesn't want to grow up, nothing good will come of it. This is quite a contrast to how the Russian press was writing about Donald Trump a year ago. Kommersant this morning reports that against the backdrop of growing confrontation with Europe, Russia and Belarus announced another exercise on the use of nuclear weapons. A military pundit suggests the nuclear drills send a signal to Ukraine and to the European Union and countries on NATO's eastern flank. Meanwhile, the Executive Committee of World Gymnastics has decided to allow Russian athletes to participate in international competitions in all age categories without any restrictions, under the national flag and with the national anthem. Restrictions lifted on Belarusian athletes too. Finally, from this week's edition of Orange Jokes, this question. How is childhood different from adulthood? When you were a child, all your nightmares came before you woke up, not after.